Joining me now is the man himself who exposed the Trump-Russian collusion hoax from day one. Former House Intelligence Committee chairman and currently Trump Media CEO Devin Nunes. Devin is also the chairman of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board outside of government. Devin, thank you so much for being here this morning. I want to get your take first on the Russia collusion part of that interview. What struck you?
I was fascinated. There's nobody better than Kash and Dan, or I should say Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino. Those two guys know more about the Russia hoax than anyone else that's out there. And I'm going to be fascinated to see what this new information is that they found buried somewhere within that Hoover building, because I do think that transparency is key. And now that we have Ed Martin, who was supposed to be the U.S. Attorney in Washington, D.C., now the president has appointed him to go after this. So I think both Kash and Dan were pretty clear. They're going to follow the facts. They're going to provide transparency. And then ultimately it's up to the Department of Justice to hold these dirty cops responsible for what they've drugged this country through for the last almost decade now.
Well, you've called Jim Comey like a figurehead, but talked about others who are really driving this lie. Let me ask you this. Who do you believe was the mastermind behind the Russia collusion lie?
Well, there's a lot of masterminds, but I think in general, this was lit on fire by Obama, Team Obama and his team after Trump won in 2016. So they could have stopped it. They should have stopped it. Instead, they lit the fuse. They put out a BS intelligence report, if you recall, right before the president came in. They framed General Flynn. They framed the entire Trump administration. And then they appointed Mueller. So once Trump fired Comey, Mueller gets appointed. And then we lived through that Mueller witch hunt for years. And I think, me personally, I think if you're going to find criminality, it's going to be with Mueller and his witch hunters that were there for so many years. I think that's where you're going to find the corruption. So it wasn't just I said this many times, Maria, and I think it was lost on people. It wasn't just about all the corruption that they did to create and manufacture the Russia hoax. The Mueller investigation itself was a hoax and was illegal. When Mueller walked into that door, how many times did I say it? He said, "Where are the Russians?" "Oh, sir, there are none." Why didn't Mueller leave? Why did all those people work for years? Why did they hide the information from Congress for so many years? I think you're going to find many of those top-level lawyers and FBI agents, as Kash said, did not conduct themselves in a professional manner. And I think if interviewed again, you could maybe get to the bottom of it. But look, you have two guys that want to get to the bottom of it. I have every faith that they will.
I want to ask you about McCabe, Strzok, and the rest. Let's take a break and come right back. I'm talking with Devin Nunes. We'll be right back on Sunday Morning Futures. Welcome back. I'm back with former House Intelligence Committee Chairman and the CEO of Trump Media and Technology Group, owner of Truth Social, Devin Nunes. Devin, you just mentioned Robert Mueller. Is that where we're going to see accountability? Are we not going to see any accountability from the likes of McCabe, Strzok, and what about Comey?
Well, Dan and Kash are part of the cleanup crew now. So because you had the initial criminality, you had the Clinton campaign doing what they did. Then you have Obama that basically lights the fuse. Well, then you had Mueller, who basically came in and covered it all up. So I think when you go in and start to look at that, remember, like everybody's paying attention to Biden, and recently these Her tapes were released, and everybody knew, and now they act like they knew that Biden was essentially out of it. Well, those lawyers that were working for Mueller had to know that Mueller was out of it. Before Biden craziness, you had Mueller craziness. So I just believe that the agents and people that moved from the Russia hoax into the Mueller witch hunt hoax, those people need to be interviewed, and there should be accountability there. I'm really anxious and want to learn from what Director Patel said, this new information. I wonder if it does have to do with that. I don't know yet. I mean, I'm sure that I will, that we will see it as a President's Intelligence Board. We will get all that information. The President's been very clear with me when he asked me to take on this role. He wants the corruption cleaned out. Yeah. He wants the politicization cleaned up. And I think what we're seeing here is you got to have transparency. You now have Ed Martin put in place in Washington, D.C. Now, look, we can't deal with the justices and that problem.
Well, that's right.
But we'll have to deal with it one day at a time.
I mentioned just Judge Boasberg. He was the one who gave Kevin Kleinsmith a smack on the wrist when Kevin Kleinsmith said, no, Carter Page is not a CIA asset, which he was. And what did he get? Community service. And here comes Judge Boasberg again, trying to stop President Trump on the immigration plans.
Yeah, every time you peel something back here, Maria, what we learn is the corruption was much worse than what we thought. And I think because President Trump has come in, he's cleaning things out, he's putting good people in. Now what we're dealing with is the last part the left owns are the judges. Yeah. And now we're learning about what the judges are doing.
Devin, thank you very much. Devin Nunes.
Hey, it's Will Cain. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Cain podcast for full episodes right now.